Thanks for joining us here on the CBN News Channel. I'm Ephraim Graham. New signs of growing division over gun control laws across the nation. Sweeping gun restrictions were approved in both Connecticut and Maryland Thursday. But that comes as other states are heading in the opposite direction, passing measures that give gun owners more rights. They're being called some of the strongest and most comprehensive gun laws in the nation. In Maryland, a bill that would force you to submit fingerprints to buy a handgun and limit magazines to 10 bullets. The State House and Senate just passed the bill, sending it to Democratic Governor Martin O'Malley, who proposed the legislation. Gun control advocates say the fingerprinting requirement will keep guns away from criminals.
We're not naive and think that it's going to cut down on all the violence and everything like that, but it's a step in the right direction in terms of trying to combat the straw purchasing and the illegal guns.
In Connecticut, Governor Dannel Malloy signed a 139-page gun control bill into law. Lawmakers there are still feeling the loss of the 20 children and 6 adults killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
The tragedy in Newtown demands a powerful response.
The bill expands the current state ban on assault weapons. It requires background checks for all firearm sales. It also bans the sale or purchase of magazines that would hold more than 10 rounds. And the bill addresses mental health and school security measures.
It certainly will help us here in Connecticut feel safer and more confident that this won't happen again.
Critics argue it does nothing to stop someone like Adam Lanza, who was not a law-abiding citizen and stole the guns he used.
Making it more onerous, more cumbersome, more burdensome on law-abiding citizens in our state is not the solution.
This year, 5 states have passed laws strengthening gun restrictions, but the march to expand gun rights hasn't exactly slowed in the wake of the Sandy Hook massacre. Many pro-gun laws are gaining ground. 10 states have passed laws that weaken gun restrictions, including Arkansas, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Kentucky. A recent CBS News poll shows 47% of Americans support stricter gun control laws, down from a peak of 57% just after the Sandy Hook shooting. And next week, Congress is set to take up nationwide proposals to curb gun violence. If the vote passes the Senate, it faces a tougher vote in the Republican-controlled House. Economists and investors are hoping the economy will keep up its slow recovery. One positive sign, housing prices have been steadily improving. A new report says some home prices are up more than 10% in the last year. And despite questions about the health of the job market, some business leaders say it looks like the economy is on the mend. The Obama White House is pushing banks to make more home loans available to people with weaker credit. The Washington Post reports the idea is to strengthen the economic recovery. The White House believes not enough people are able to buy homes as the housing market recovers. That includes young people who want to buy their first homes and people with credit that was hurt in the recession. But critics warn the move could lead to the risky types of loans that caused the housing bubble and crash in the last decade. And taxpayers would be left holding the bag again. The American Civil Liberties Union is challenging religious groups' access to elementary schools. In Kentucky, it is targeting all 174 public school superintendents. The ACLU wants them to provide information about how groups are granted access to schools to distribute literature to students during school hours. The Open Records request specifically mentions Gideon's International, a group dedicated to Bible distribution. Secretary of State John Kerry is heading to the Middle East for the 3rd time in 2 weeks. He's trying to restart the peace talks between the Israelis and Palestinians. No one is expecting a breakthrough, but his meeting with Israeli and Palestinian leaders represent the Obama administration's most sustained effort yet in the Middle East. Kerry's trip comes after militants fired several rockets from Gaza into southern Israel this week, and Israel retaliated with airstrikes. In the Middle East, much of the talk surrounding the Israeli-Arab conflict deals with land. There is also a fight for compensation and so-called right of return for descendants of Palestinian refugees. Now, Israel wants the world to know about hundreds of thousands of Jewish refugees expelled from Arab lands as a result of the rebirth of the State of Israel. Our Chris Mitchell has that story.
For thousands of years, Jewish communities thrived throughout the Middle East. But all that changed in 1948, when Muslim nations reacted violently to Israel's birth.
Jews of Middle Eastern and North African descent, almost 900,000 of these Jews were exiled forcibly from their homes throughout the Middle East and North Africa when the State of Israel was founded.
After the 1967 Six-Day War, another wave of persecution hit and forced most of the remaining Jews to leave 11 Middle Eastern and North African countries. Linda Munichen became one of those refugees.
Nobody would want anything with the Jews, especially with the incitement going on the radio in the mosques. So we were labeled like the fifth column. Also, more constraints were put, like you couldn't take out from your own account from the bank more than 100 dinars a month.
In 1970, Munichen and her brother left Baghdad for Israel, keeping their flight secret from their father, a prominent lawyer.
We didn't even kiss goodbye because I thought we'll meet one day. Anyway, I had to run away through Iran.
They escaped into the unknown.
I was disguised like an Arab woman, I looked, and my brother bought a very old coat. It was very cold winter. And to our big luck, everything went smoothly because at the time Jews were not allowed to be away from home more than 80 or 100 kilometers.
Examples like this happened all across the Middle East. Expulsions, seizure of property, and murder of the Jews.
In the aftermath of the Six-Day War in 1967, the mob in Libya, especially in Tripoli and Benghazi, took to the streets and started burning the homes of Jewish people and ransacking our warehouses. And my father's warehouse was burned. And then they came along and started pouring gasoline around my house. And a Muslim neighbor came down from the building and convinced the mob that the Jewish family wasn't living there anymore. And of course, he saved our lives.
American Gina Waldman started Jamina, Jews indigenous to the Middle East and North Africa.
And I always felt that there was a sense of injustice, that even though we really made a good life for ourselves in whichever country hosted us, nonetheless, we were never recognized for the wrongs that were done to us.
Two-thirds of the Jewish refugees resettled in Israel and the rest in other Western countries. Waldman and Munichen both say they were traumatized. Munichen says there's a message for the Western world today.
850,000 Jews were expelled or forced to leave or persecuted from Arab countries. And when we try to overlook these issues, they come again in a different way. So now it's the turn of the Christians, who are being killed, shot, and we cannot see any effective action from the West.
For Israel, sharing the saga of Jewish refugees is part of gaining international recognition for their sufferings.
And we say, well, there are two sets of refugees. There are Jewish refugees and there are Arab refugees, and both sides should be compensated together.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Kidnappers are targeting Christians in a southern province in Egypt. More than 150 Christians have been kidnapped for ransom in Minya province over the past 2 years. Church leaders say the rise of the Muslim Brotherhood is partly to blame. That's because criminals are emboldened by the preaching of Islamic clerics who declare Christians are second-class citizens. Christians rarely report the kidnappings because they don't believe the police will help them. One priest says local officials don't prosecute Muslims accused of attacking Christians' homes and churches, and that encourages more crime. Coming up, Latino businesses and bilingual schools, and it may not be where you think. A look at Hispanics in the heartland.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 US gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
From CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum, you and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook.
No.
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't!
They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry.
Mary is about to lose her son. The worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is Risen. Available now.
More than 50 million Latinos live in the U.S., but not necessarily where you might expect. In the Midwest, Hispanics not only prop up declining populations, they're helping revive local economies. Heather Sells reports.
Antonio Sosa owns and operates this small grocery with his parents, who immigrated from Mexico some 15 years ago.
When you're new to a business industry, I mean, you kind of have to figure out yourself how to run it.
Sosa works long hours and has transformed the store into something of a community center for local Hispanics.
There's some people that actually come here. They've asked for a little help on translations on some things. We can cash checks, fax papers.
But Sosa doesn't live in California or Texas. He serves a booming Hispanic population in tiny West Liberty, Iowa. This community of close to 4,000 represents a new wave of Midwest diversity. Many Latinos in Iowa originally came for jobs in agribusiness, but now are beginning businesses of their own, and they're adding an economic vitality to a state that could use it.
I would suggest to community look at this as an opportunity. Another issue that I hear all across the state of Iowa from employers is that there's a real concern about workforce shortage.
University of Iowa consultant Jeff Schott says towns that have welcomed Latinos reap economic dividends. West Liberty Mayor Chad Thomas agrees.
I think if we didn't have the Hispanic community here, we'd have a lot more empty businesses downtown.
And West Liberty is not alone. In counties across the state, Latinos make up 5% or more of the population, and they're re-energizing the communities they live in. It's the case in Storm Lake, where 1/3 of the residents are Hispanic.
When you look at other rural communities that struggle to keep their schools open, that have to consolidate school districts, that struggle to keep heads on the beds in their homes and things like that, we have a housing shortage. We have a growing school district.
In fact, some families have moved to West Liberty because of the diversity in its schools. It offers a dual language program for all 12 grades. Bilingual teachers teach in Spanish for half the day and in English the other half. Parents like Pamela Romero are thrilled to see their kids becoming proficient in 2 languages.
It's really good because right now they are both reading English and Spanish. They're writing English and Spanish, even the one that is in K.
They have friends from all backgrounds. We hear them playing. Sometimes they all switch to Spanish and speak to each other in Spanish, which is amazing.
West Liberty classrooms contain more Hispanic children than Caucasian. Across the state, the Latino population grew 82% in the last 10 years, and non-Hispanics increased by less than 2%. Even with those numbers, the Latino growth in Iowa is no recent trend. It started in the 1980s, when packing plants like Tyson Foods in Storm Lake recruited workers outside the state. Eventually, these workers brought their families, bringing even more growth. Now, second and third generations are starting their own businesses, boosting the state's economy once again. Augustine Quiros works with his parents in their tortilla shop. He's also getting a technical degree just in case the business doesn't make it, but he says he much prefers working with family.
It's a pleasure, actually, because I'm not working for someone else, so it's a lot better.
Town leaders with substantial Hispanic growth point out their communities are not bicultural utopias. Storm Lake has worked for decades figuring out how best to meet immigrant needs.
Has it come with challenges? Absolutely. Are there issues that we still deal with our diversity? Every day. Do the positives outweigh the negatives? By far.
As for the future, Chad Thomas says West Liberty simply sits on the front edge of a national trend.
I think 30, 40 years from now, we won't be that unique.
In the meantime, young entrepreneurs like Quiros and Sosa will work their dreams. Each have plans to expand and build their businesses.
I just hope it just gets better. I mean, who doesn't want to have their own family flourish, right?
On one level, it's simply the American dream playing out yet again. But this wave of diversity rolling through the Midwest carries enormous stakes, both for our country's economy and a new understanding of what it means to be a melting pot. Reporting in Iowa, Heather Sells, CBN News.
Coming up later, Temptation, why the new Tyler Perry film is being praised for its message about faithfulness.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
American Idol Season 12 is winding down. The winner to be chosen in just a few weeks. Jeremy Rosado finished in the top 13 last season. It's been a very eventful year since he was voted off the show. He has just released a new single called Don't Be Afraid, and he joins us now by Skype to talk about his music and his faith. Jeremy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys so much for having me. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Congratulations on the new song. Tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you so much. I feel really blessed to have come so far from American Idol and to be standing here now, with the single. It's called Don't Be Afraid. It's featuring Pablo Villatoro, who's formerly from Group One Crew, who's pretty well known in the Christian music world. So, I feel really blessed, first of all, to be working with someone at his caliber. And I feel really blessed that, God has just opened all these doors and I've been able to begin to live the dream post-Idol. So it's been great.
That's wonderful. What's life been like since you left the show?
It's been a whirlwind. It's been life-changing. I mean, I get to do this for a living now, and I get to just do events and concerts and minister at churches, and I'm living my dream. And more importantly than that, coming off Idol, I gotta admit I was probably ready to just be the next pop artist, but I definitely know that God humbled me very much and spoke to me, and I know it was Him, and showed me what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm so grateful that at this point in my life I am able to live out not only my dream, but I'm actually able to walk into the calling that He put over my life since I was a little boy. So I feel so blessed to be chosen, and to just have Him speak to me the way that He does. So
that's wonderful, Jeremy. And you recently tweeted about the times of prayer that you and fellow contestants shared on American Idol. What was that experience like?
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. It was actually Heejun who organized the prayers. It was in he and Philip Phillips' room, because they were roommates, and they would just send out a text message to everyone, and all the believers that were there on the show, which there were quite a few of us in the top 24. We would just meet in his room, and we would just sit there, very much like if we went to a prayer meeting at church, and we would just go through each person, prayer requests, but more importantly, just taking a moment to thank God and to realize what God has done in our lives and how He has brought us to the place that we were, and just showing that we knew that we never wanted to forget that it was Him that gave it to us. So it was beautiful. It was awesome.
That's awesome. What advice would you give to those who are still on the show?
Oh my gosh, keep choosing the right songs. Keep showing your personality, because it's at the end of the day it's still it's a TV show, and you got to win over the fans, you got to win over the public. Be real, stick true to you. I wouldn't change for other people, whether it's the producers or not. I would go with what your gut tells you, and if you have faith in God, as I did on this show, and just continue to trust that if it's for you, He'll continue to work it out. And no matter where you land, no position, you've come far enough. And He is just using this as the first stepping stone into the wonderful life. So, yeah.
Jeremy Rosado, thank you so much for a wonderful interview. God bless you, and wanting you to just do really well as you already are.
Thank you so much, Charlene. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new GripGo, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and GripGo grabs your phone ultra fast. Then it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of GripGo. You can get the amazing GripGo with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete GripGo systems for just $14.95.
To order GripGo for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
The weekend is here, and that means it's time for our regular movie reviews with Bob Waliszewski. He's the director of Focus on the Family's entertainment review department called Plugged In Online. Bob, just one movie to talk about today. It's Tyler Perry's new film called Temptation. I believe it finished #2 at the box office. What did you think?
Made $22 million. Tyler Perry does not screen his movies for the press. So if you're going to talk about him, you have to do it a week after the fact. And typically we don't. We just say, hey, it's online, check out our full review. But this may be the best Tyler Perry film to date. Temptation, Confessions of a Marriage Counselor. It concentrates on a woman named Judith who wants to be a marriage counselor. But right now she's working for a matchmaking service, a very prestigious one, dealing with very wealthy clientele. She's happily married. She's been happily married for 6 years. And when one day this good-looking, very wealthy man comes into her office, you would think with all her experience, she'd be very adept at recognizing the signs of flirting. But she seems to just be oblivious to that. And then he comes and spends more time with her, asks her to do extra projects for him, and one thing leads to another. Again, this film deals with infidelity. I don't want to give it away. Typically, this would be the kind of film that we'd be saying, didn't like this one, but I'll tell you, Tyler Perry handles the subject by the time the credits roll better than any parable I have ever seen on film. I really like this film. I like the way he so well says infidelity is wrong, awful, hurtful. It has all sorts of consequences, all that by the time the credits roll. Now, it's not squeaky clean. There's a little bit of language. There's a little bit of sensuality. Nothing explicit, certainly not a film for younger kids, but for older teens on up, a date night movie for a couple that's dating, a couple that's married. I think this film has great possibility.
All right, that is good to hear. My wife and I saw it. Agree with you. Thank you so much.
You bet. Have a great day.
And that's all for the CBN News channel at this hour. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Have a fabulous Friday and a wonderful weekend.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957. Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.